woman.
She's a dime.
How's it going? It's me, RDV, with Eric Breen. Back issue Eric Breen, guy who has probably as many back issues from today. Not just comic books, but from carrying couches today, apparently. Oof.
Actual back issues.
Yes.
Zach is my guest tonight as well. With he's also Zach, the Zach without fear.
There you go.
So, I don't. So you're not afraid of anything tonight?
No, y'all pretty much terrorized me with the last stream with all those adult comic books that y'all
I'm
are
surprised
reading.
you can wear that shirt without breaking, a sweat.
It's actually really cold in the house.
Oh.
We keep it like 68 degrees inside. It's like 95 outside, but we keep it 68 in here.
Yeah.
So, and plus, for some reason, my room is the coldest one. So,
Eric, I don't think he gets it.
I don't get it either.
No. It's okay.
Anyway,
we're here to talk about
inside jokes at me. Keep your jokes at me to the regular standard, the racist ones.
Look at this.
Keep those jokes, okay?
This is
Oh,
a
look
soft
at
cover
that.
volume
Oh,
one.
that's pretty.
That's a thick book.
Is that hardcover or is that
Soft
paperback?
cover.
Okay, soft cover.
It has art on the back too as well.
Nice.
This collects 158 through 161 and 163 through 172. So, yes, the very last three issues, the very last two is at the very end of this book. But
I
have the other volumes.
Trivia question for you nerds.
Okay.
Why is 162 not in that collection?
Do not know.
Well, it's fairly obvious because Frank didn't draw it.
Oh, that's
But do you know who did?
It was.
You each get two guesses. All-time great.
All-time great.
All-time great that drew a Daredevil, 162.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Bob Layton.
As good as he is, I wouldn't call him an all-time great.
Oh, really?
He's not in that sphere. I think he's better. He's much better.
Are you biased with this? The person who drew it?
No.
Okay, so that takes it out.
No, because Gil Kane was a regular artist on there for a while.
Is it John Byrne?
No.
Okay, I just thought with all the books.
It is not Gene Colan.
Oh.
Like I said, I think Bob Layton is a much better, artist than this guy. But this
is it
guy,
John Romita?
You're getting warmer.
Oh, so it's Steve Ditko.
Steve Ditko.
You had your two guesses. I was about to guess Steve Ditko. Darn you, cheater!
Cheater.
You got three guesses in there. No, it was
actually. I didn't guess the Gil Kane though. He just gave that all information.
No, you guessed. Whatever. We have the answer.
In fact, Gil Kane and Gene Colan were put on the art because the regular artist Bob Brown passed in 1977. So there was some transition artists. It's really some all-time greats. Because I said you had Kane, Colan. I even had mixed in Frank Robbins, who's
they
not. I wouldn't put in not a great artist, but had a very distinguished career. And then Miller took over with 158.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had Bill Mantle, Roger McKenzie, and David Micheline also wrote some of these as well.
Oh, okay.
Because this also collects Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man 27 and 28 as well.
Yeah, those would have been written by Mantlo
and McKenzie.
And McKenzie was the regular. McKenzie wrote the first 10 issues of Miller's Daredevil.
Yeah, and he had Micheline was on. Like I said, I love all the.
Michelini would have written whatever the side book was. Either, like I said, I want to say Mantlo did the Spectacular. And what else did you say was that in that?
Spectacular was in here. It's 27, 28. Then Daredevil 158 through 161. Because 163 through 172 is the other half.
Yeah, I don't know what Michelini would have written out of any of that, but.
Yeah, I mean. That's the one thing they don't really show because they show this is 159, but I'm not. It doesn't really show who the writer is in the very credits.
Well, we know who's writing 170 through 172. So
I'm gonna pretend like I'm on the fossils. Aha!
Nice.
nice.
What do you mean? It's like any stream you're on. You just pull out the book. I have
Yeah, I
it
was
too.
about to say, every stream you're on, you have to give, like,
they call it getting breened on the fossils now.
Yeah, well, they should. It's like anytime you watch a Looney Tune, they pull like a giant
All right.
object out from behind their back. That's you.
Here's one of the ones I like by Roger McKenzie and Al Milgrom.
Oh, that's cool.
The Black Widow featuring in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have I love all the early issues and all the drawing. I just love that. I mean, comic books need to bring that back. Look at that. That's cool. The Black Widow comic book had the after images like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people
Spider-Man has it.
Some people didn't like that, but I mean, I love that when they show you like where he's going to where they're leaving from.
Yeah.
It just gets you more involved, more believable.
Yeah, no, definitely.
This is the Bill Mantlo with Frank Miller. So, Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and those were the first time. That was the first time Frank drew Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like I said. That's the cover right here. It's such a great all these stories with Frank Miller stuff he's doing here. Frank did he brought the character to a much more dark. I mean, more not a darker, but more like a serious level, I guess you'd say.
Well, I would say Roger McKenzie started that,
and then Frank just turned it up.
Frank took it. I don't think McKenzie would have gotten there.
No,
because Frank Miller is gifted. McKenzie's a solid comic book writer, and I'm sure Miller probably. I'm guessing he might have had a hand in the plotting because he was still very new to the business at the time. But like I said, within 2 years, because this, just like X-Men, the beginning of that run that turned them into the juggernaut that they became was bi-monthly. So was Daredevil. In fact, it wasn't until the first issue we're doing tonight, 170, where it finally went monthly.
Ah, okay.
But can you imagine, as good as this was, that the sales had gotten to the point where it was a bi-monthly title.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Roger McKenzie, see what else he did stuff. He worked in Charlton as well.
Oh, he's been around. He's done some stories in those Creeps books. The magazines.
Creepy, eerie, Vampirella.
No, Creeps. Like the ones that do Vampirus Carmilla. So I mean, he's still working.
So he's doing that. Okay, in the new comics.
Well, I don't think he's doing it right now, but he did do a couple of the early issues in the early issues.
But like I said, he was working with the Creepy back in the Warren Publishing back in the day with Eerie as well.
Yeah.
UFO and Alien Comics #1. Serious Comics was 86. Tales of the Sunrunners, Pied Piper Comics, Pacific Comics, the New Comics Group, Marvel, Image, Gold Key, Eclipse, Deluxe, DC Comics, Comical. He worked on X-Men 1 through 5. Checkmate Comics and Charlton Neo, which apparently they had the Charlton Arrow #1 through 5, which started in 2014, 2016, and Charlton Wild Frontier, which came out in 2015. So yeah, I've heard the name before, but I didn't really hear him outside of Daredevil. So now I'm looking on the guy's Wikipedia and stuff. I was like, dang, he actually did more than I thought he did. Because when I think of Daredevil, I think of Frank Miller, or Stan Lee and stuff. I don't, or Roger McKenzie, those couple of issues he did. I always forget that he was, that he
was on it before Miller.
Yeah.
Also. So I mean, he was around for a while.
But my go-to whenever I think of Daredevil, I always go straight to Frank Miller's run.
Well, I don't. Now, 40 years later,
yeah,
most people don't know that McKenzie. Most people just assume Frank did all of it from the beginning.
Yep.
And like I said, 168 was his first solo issue, and we all know what happened in that.
Fun book.
Fun times, but yeah,
he's quizzing us.
Let's get into
okay, what happened in 168?
Yeah, Zach.
Whose first appearance was Daredevil 168?
First appearance. That wouldn't have been Bullseye, would it?
No, that was 131.
Black Widow?
No, it would.
Don't be it.
I'm just kidding.
Come on, I know that. I don't know.
But you're close. You're closer than Zach. At least gender wise.
168.
No, it was.
It's not-
it was.
It's not Karen, huh?
No, I think it is.
It's not. No, it's Elektra. It's not Karen. It's Elektra. Elektra Nachios. That's my final answer. Ha ha! I'm right.
That one.
Yeah, Elektra.
Yeah.
I always thought that she was with Frank Miller's. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Frank Miller's first solo issue.
Well, that's right. He did start 160. I'm thinking he started.
No. He started in 158, but Miller or Mackenzie wrote the first 10 issues.
I forget. Yeah, I forget.
This was his first issue as the writer.
Okay.
And yeah, this thing, I got this for $1.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Now it's like,
and I don't even know why I kept it, but I'm glad I did now because, hell, this is $350. I'll take $1 beat up one.
Heck
now is that newsstand or normal? Direct
newsstand.
I never understood.
That's not all the time.
No, because some people prefer newsstand.
You know what it is? It's people that want to give the illusion that they're just so much smarter than everybody else. I mean, yeah, I who cares? Like I said, comic book realm doesn't differentiate. That's good enough for me.
Yeah,
there you go.
Like I said, when it comes to newsstand or direct, I don't care. I have the book.
Yeah,
the original book.
Yeah,
it's like because people say like, well, the newsstand is more rare than the. I'm like, the UK one's more rare.
I'm just showing this to remind people what we're talking about tonight.
Yes,
we're talking about everybody before this issue. Like we're still talking about this, guys. Don't worry.
I want to talk about. I know we're talking about these 3 issues, but I just want to talk about Frank Miller in general. The writing the books overall.
What's really boring, Zach Without Fear. Hi, welcome to the live stream. We're going to be talking about Daredevil 170 through 172. In Daredevil 170 on page 1, see we're building.
We're building up to it. Yes, you have to. That's the way you sell these things, baby.
All right, sell away. Don't call me baby, but sell away.
I figure if we ramble long enough, maybe Morano will get some company in the chat.
And also, I mean, we could just leave it to the Beeve down there.
The what?
The Beeve. Leave it the Beaver. The hat sticking up.
Oh, is that? I've never heard it called. I've never heard "Leave It to Beaver." I always get Gomer Pyle.
Yeah, that was a.
Well, if you want to be called Gomer Pyle because you don't sell, go ahead.
I mean,
you ever work at a gas station?
No, I didn't work. I did watch all of Gomer Pyle, but.
Speaking of, I heard Tony Dow was just diagnosed with cancer.
Got another one.
Dang, seriously?
Yeah. Well, he is almost 80.
Yeah, still, it's rough.
Do you know who's not diagnosed with cancer?
Who?
Daredevil.
He's a fictional character.
He's real.
No, he's as real as you want him to be, Lil Zachy.
Yep. All right, so 170. We might as well jump into it since we already built it up, and Zach's complaining because he wants to go.
Not complaining. I was just saying.
170 is the first time we see Kingpin coming back to basically to New York. First, his wife Vanessa goes.
Not yet. You're putting the cart in front of the horse here.
Yeah. First of all, you get something I liked a lot was just the first couple of pages where he's like out jogging on the bridge. And he's like passing up this old guy. One thing that I really noticed here, I noticed a lot of differences between Daredevil and Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man, of course, he gets a bad rap from the Daily Bugle, and some people are afraid of him and everything. But Daredevil, I mean, the dude's literally dressed as a devil, and he's running past this old guy. He's like, "Hey, you want to race? I run this mile every night." Like the people actually like he's got a more of a tie to the community, I guess. Like nobody is afraid of Daredevil unless they're a crook. So I noticed that was a nice little contrast between the two. But yeah, there's this scene where at Josie's bar, and I really appreciated this because previously I had only read through or only watched y'all read through issue 172.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 170, 171, and 172, there's a consistent there's a pattern of scenes that take place at Josie's bar.
And those who are wondering, 169 is where he goes against Bullseye, and they fight on the subway rail. That was a good fight too. So I mean, if you're gonna read, not just read what we're talking about here, read all of them through.
Is that the one where he saves his life?
Yeah, he saves Bullseye's life. But that's why in this
that. Okay.
So that's why you read in this issue is he's upset that Bullseye, after he saved his life, yeah, because Bullseye apparently had to have surgery, right?
Yeah, didn't he have they were trying to claim he was insane or he had a temporary bout of insanity or something?
You know, he said this guy. He's like, I could just hear the train run. I could let him get hit by the train, but he's like, I can't do it. So when it comes back, when he goes against Bullseye later in these 3 issues, it's really personal for him because Bullseye started killing people again, and he's like, I could have just let him die. So he's get the inner turmoil. It's kind of like Batman in a sense.
So to set this up, the impetus for this story is that the Kingpin, who we learned for the first time is named Wilson Fisk.
Yep.
Is content to live an honest life in Japan dealing spices because he's back on track with his wife. They kind of forget about the troubled son, Richard, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
And he has agreed to turn state's evidence. So a representative from the New York, DA's office or the state's attorney, whatever, comes out to, lay the groundwork for him to come and, like I said, basically rat out the rest of the Eastern Seaboard crime figures. And that's what his wife wants. And that's actually kind of become what he wants.
Yeah.
But one of his lieutenants, a guy named Lynch, that's not what he wants. And that's very central to the plot.
That scene right there was cool because it's this big guy, and we see this throughout the story. Is like Kingpin's not fat, like he's not blubber. It's like all muscle, and he's like a very skilled fighter. So he's got like all these 6, 7, 8 guys assaulting him.
Yeah,
but he said none of them can lay a finger on him. He's such a fast fighter.
One of the guys says One of the guys says he's on the ground. He's like, I hear he got a lot of practice when he was Kingpinning, and is Kingpin upset? He's like, don't you ever say that name again. He's and then Vanessa comes like, I was just tending to him.
I wasn't dislocating his shoulder.
No,
I was resetting it.
I wasn't. Look at he's dead.
that
no way,
guy's dead.
So So I thought that was kind of interesting. He's kind of trying to leave his Kingpin side away from Vanessa.
Yeah.
So
right before that though, we get something I like. It's like the first part. It's like a 3-step. It's like a 3-part joke almost. Not a joke. It's a part of the story.
Oh yeah.
But where he's at Josie's saloon and Turk is in there. And Turk, we all know Turk. He's like this low-level guy. He's in there running his mouth. Daredevil ain't so what happens is Daredevil's behind him with a drink. He's like, hey, let's talk. And Daredevil, the funny part is he doesn't even lay a finger on him. He's just sitting there sipping on his drink. And Turk just gets so frightened. He leaps over the bar, jumps through the window, carjacks the guy's taxi cab. And the cabbie is like, man, you stealing my car. And so Daredevil comes outside.
He's like, you're a hero. You got to go do your hero thing.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a superhero, ain't you?
He's like, thank God that the guy didn't get his muffler fixed.
Yeah. Well, no, before he says that, he's like, you should get that muffler looked at, friend. There are laws against pollution. It's like, okay, because he's the lawyer, he knows about the laws. But yeah, that part I thought was really cool. And it's the first part of a 3-part joke.
He pulled a Chuck Norris. He kicked it right through the windshield.
Yeah. Yeah, that's he just goes flying right through there. And then Turk, Turk kind of becomes his CI, to put it in cop terms, his informant. He tells him, Kingpin's not even in New York. He's not in the country. He's in Japan. So, but yeah.
So Vanessa arrives in New York.
Yep.
She's going to retain the services of Nelson and Murdock. And while they're talking, machine gun fire comes through the window. Matt slips away, turns to Daredevil, and goes and fights a guy on the roof. And he ends up trying to escape by jumping off the roof, ends up incinerating himself and falling to his death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about Bruno. So we're going to move on.
Well, so, okay, this is another thing. I read through this, and I was like, because this is
Yeah.
where the difference between him and Spider-Man, it stood out to me again. And I say that because we've been reading, obviously, a good deal of Spider-Man. But I was thinking, it's like, okay, Spider-Man tries to save someone from falling to their death, i.e. Gwen Stacy. She dies. He gets heartbroken over it. Now, obviously, this Bruno, this guy with the flamethrower, he and Matt aren't like lovers or anything like that. But Daredevil, tries to help this guy, tries to save him. But, like you said, the flamethrower incinerates the cable. He falls to his death. Daredevil is like, doesn't give him a second thought. He's like, oh, he chose his path in life. He could have done better. Oh, well, just takes off. Like, dang, Matt. It's kind of morbid, but
Yeah, and I think it's Detective Manolis,
Manoli.
who basically
Yeah.
I've heard it both ways.
he's always like he's the what's it right here, and he's interviewing what's going on. And he's like talking to him. This cop is a recurring cop, and he's always giving Matt a hard time as far as everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's a by the book guy, and he just doesn't. He knows that Murdock's not on the up and up, but he can't prove it.
Yeah. He also James Foggy. He calls him Pudgy too.
he informs him that Bullseye is getting out. His surgery is good. He's getting out of prison. So then Matt decides to follow Bullseye. And he finds out he's talking to these the former Kingpins. The former associates of Kingpin have basically turned on the Kingpin. They're hiring Bullseye to work for them.
Well, they know he's coming to turn state's evidence against all of them, so they've got to stop that.
Yep.
That's why Bruno was hired to take out Vanessa and I'm sure Nelson and Murdock.
Yep.
So yeah, and
this leads to one of my favorite parts of this issue is Bullseye going against Daredevil, and he gets kicked out of the window.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because while they're fighting, Daredevil's like, once you run out of weapons to throw, you're no good.
Anything's a weapon.
You're a sitting duck. And then Bullseye's like, oh, the floor's a weapon. The wall's a weapon. And then he's like, I'll use the city to kill you. And it's like, yeah, that's a really cool panel too. That above shot.
And then, like you said, the next thing is like, it's really cool. I love this. Whenever a character falls out a window, he always tries to grab him the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Then sometimes it doesn't work.
But before that, he uses his line to stop his fall.
Yeah, but
Bullseye just shoots the line.
Yep.
Yeah, he just shoots right through it. Yeah.
But like I said, I always love that when you see whenever they did that in the Tick show on Amazon. He's like, "Oh, I'll grab onto the flagpole," and he rips the flagpole off.
Yeah.
Now I gotta take. I say,
go ahead.
I don't care how soft what was in that garbage truck was.
Oh yeah, that garbage
floors. He ain't surviving that.
He's got some broken bones for sure. Yeah. I mean, you can say he broke his fall a little bit, but no, that's a lot. I'm sorry. No radioactive waste is improving your bone density.
It wasn't a passing mattress truck.
Right.
Now,
any garbage truck, it has sharp objects in the bags. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that too.
Never in entertainment though. You ever notice that?
Yeah, it's always.
And the dumpsters never smell when the guys have to dive in them.
Nope. Yep. I walked out. Our trash truck came by today. I walked my dog outside right after it. And I was thinking of this panel. I was like, "There's no way Daredevil would take one smell and he'd just be out."
It's special, yeah. So the issue ends with the Kingpin. Is set to arrive, and he obviously, smells a rat, sends the dummy plane in first. It blows up, and then Kingpin and Lynch land safely.
Well, especially when you get into the next issue with that, we talking about that trash can. He's not trash can, but the truck. It's carrying metal cans.
Yeah,
those are sharp.
Yeah.
You ever seen aluminum cans crush it? They get jagged little edges in there.
Yeah.
Now, if he's wearing the leather suit like he was wearing, and Charlie Cox was wearing, or if he's wearing spandex,
nope.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, Kingpin just it's clear he hasn't lost a step. being in Japan and giving up his Kingpin lifestyle.
Well, the guy's smart, and it just shows you how challenging of a person he is. Everybody, even Spider-Man thought he was called him Tubby.
Yeah.
Green threw me out there. That wall crawling menace. I won't say the name anymore.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Something else too. I noticed this in the first issue. I don't know. I mean, I guess this happened in other comics too, but they start to get creative with the writing credits. Like in this issue, it's all in all the little soda cans.
Yeah.
The last issue, it's the littered pieces of paper. I like that little creative touch there. But yeah, I mean, I like this first scene because well, first of all, he figures out he's in the garbage truck because he's like, I smell orange rinds and coffee and rotten fruit. I'm like, buddy,
it's
you have
out.
You have a super sensitive nose. If that's any realistic kind of garbage truck,
the other thing is that if he didn't go home and shower and he goes to talk to Foggy or anybody else in this thing as Matt Murdock,
right?
It shows him hanging out with his girlfriend Heather. She'd be like, how do you smell like a trash can? You smell like nasty. You smell like oranges inside. He's like, oh,
you smell like garbage. His dumpster diving. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
We have to assume that he went home and took a shower.
Yeah, right. I think he even says that too, because he hears the radio in the garbage truck, and he's like, "Well, now that I know what that disc jockey just said, I have a pretty good idea of what time it is." Yeah. So he goes home, gets some hours of sleep. Then it shows him he goes to have a little brunch in the park with Heather. That's really the only time you see Heather in this couple of issues too, I think. But yeah, from there we go back to the new Kingpins or the new gangsters. They have Vanessa, and they're up in their high rise. They have Vanessa on like a big screen. She's telling them like, y'all should return me before it's too late, before Kingpin finds out. And the gangsters are like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Bullseye, why don't you go give a message to the Kingpin?
Yep.
Bullseye, he knows that he's smarter than these guys because he's like, these clowns have the world's best assassin, and they're using him for an errand boy. It's like,
he's like, I don't know about these guys. They're idiots if they're going to play an errand.
Right, exactly.
And this leads to introduction of Shades.
Shades.
Those who remember, Shades was a totally different character in the Daredevil season 3 or season 2 series.
Luke Cage. Was it Luke Cage?
No, it was
Luke Cage had characters named Shades and Comanche.
Oh, was Shades in? I thought
that was obviously a different character.
Different shade, yeah, obviously.
But there was a Shades. I thought that was in not Luke Cage. It was in Daredevil, wasn't there?
Season 2.
Or am I thinking of a?
Shades, I think Shades and Comanche made it into the Netflix Luke Cage show.
Yeah, they made it.
I know it was one of them. I remember the guy who had the shades, and then
he wore the sunglasses all the time.
Yeah.
He was in Luke Cage.
Oh,
yeah,
wasn't
the guy from Sons of Anarchy the guy that played him?
I never watched Sons of Anarchy, but it was. You have to look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
But either way, Matt Murdock goes undercover as this guy. He's like, and gets in a fight at Josie's, and poor Josie.
Poor Josie. This is the second part of the 3-part joke, because Josie, the previous issue, Turk goes running through the window to get away from Daredevil, and so in this issue, she's like, Mister, please don't throw him through the window. And it's too late at that point because the window's
and he
busted.
says so he has Turk take him through like this little the underground sewer park into where Kingpin is. Mm-hmm. So Kingpin's hiding underground, and he basically wants to interview, Kingpin says like, I thought it's kind of funny. I thought you would have been a messenger for working for the opposite side, our enemies.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I was like, he's like, I know there's a turf war coming. I want to be on the right side of things.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
You're right. What, by the way,
so he's like, I don't trust this guy. He's like, tells his buddy to basically the henchman, kill him. So then he throws like a pen or a knife into the gun and jams it up. And impressed, Kingpin basically hires him on.
Well, before he goes in there, he says, he listens to him. He said, he goes, you have 1 minute to persuade me not to have you shot.
Yeah.
Make use of it. And he tells it, and he goes, oh, an errand boy. Basically, he goes, yeah, kill me. He goes, I'll borrow your pen. He goes, you're not going to need it where you're going.
Yeah.
And
Well, so one of the parts that I really like is right before this, where Turk and this other guy are Grotto, where they're leading them down. They're going through the sewers. One thing I really like is like, man, Grotto's like, dude, I don't know, man. This guy's blindfolded. He's walking around like he knows like he can see clearly.
Yeah, in the dark. Yeah.
And then they're walking up to Kingpin, and Matt's like, this guy's huge. Like he's just like walking closer and closer. He's like, I can hear his heartbeat. It's like a bass or something. It's
He's like,
yeah.
He's like, I've heard tales of the genius, his power, but never told me how big he is.
How big he is, right? Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
Right after he says you're hired, that one of his men comes staggering in, mortally wounded. Now I'm pretty sure I played that guy when we did this reading.
You did.
I think so. Yeah.
Check out my death scene.
You were
there. You go, Black Cat. If you can't make anything out of that.
Check out on the other our videos in here. We actually read through these 168 through 169, and recently we uploaded 172. I think
172. Yeah, that was the rise of the Kingpin, I think.
Yeah. The Kingpin must die.
And Matt sees this guy die, and he's thinking to himself like, Bullseye killed somebody else. You know, he's regretting him not.
Yeah, I saved your life, Bullseye, just a few weeks ago. I've been wondering since how I would feel if you killed again. Yeah. Now I know you'll pay for this, Bullseye. And he's kind of gritting his teeth a little bit.
He's upset. So let me see. What we got after that. We've got back
by the office. I think it's Elizabeth, her name.
Is Elizabeth the girl?
Becky.
Yeah,
Becky,
she's answering phone call. Now I don't know if this is ever resolved here. Foggy is like really down on his luck. Like he's.
It does.
Like, really
a few issues later.
Foggy
is depressed about something. He's conflicted about something, so he's basically ignoring. He's not, he's not sleeping at home. I forgot what it was. He felt guilty about something.
Okay.
Or he was having Debbie problems.
Or he stole Luke Cage's pizza.
His fiance or whatever wife, whatever it was, that got married, basically, wanted to bone every man in town, not named Foggy.
Ooh, yikes.
Well, that wasn't until we find out that much later.
Yeah. But then we go back to now this I thought was really neat. So back at the Kingpin's headquarters, Matt finds the vault where all these files are supposed to be.
This is the best scene I've seen.
He tries to pull it's a door, but the door is designed so that only the humongous, super strong hands of Kingpin can open it. So it's like pages of it's like panels of him just like pulling and pulling and pulling, and slowly, little by little, he opens the door just enough to crawl inside.
And I love what it says here. He says, oh, he's pulling. He's like, it's hopeless. He knows it, so he doesn't hope. He simply pulls until his shoulder blades bulge against the knotted muscles of his back, until his breath hisses hotly through clenched teeth, until corded sinew stretches near breaking, until his arms shake and threaten to yank free of their sockets. And somehow, somewhere beyond the pain, he finds the strength he needs.
Yeah. Yes, the way it shows like the effort and the like sheer will that he needs to, like, it's not just like an easy, hey, I remember 1 or 2 panels. It's over.
Remember after we read this, I remember Breen, you were saying about this is Spider-Man had the same problem opening up a door.
Yeah, not as much as Daredevil, obviously.
Well, no,
Spider-Man has strength, but the point was, that they had used this before, which was kind of a nice touch on Frank's part. Okay, trivia time again. Now Foggy was in a bad marriage. Deborah, she done him wrong. She was a trollop. If you read the Micah the Savage stories in the early 200s, boy, was she a trollop. When this series ended at issue 380, who was Foggy's girlfriend?
Karen Page.
No, but she is blonde, and we have read her exploits a number of times on the Geeky Puppet Show.
Kill Danvers?
No.
I'm just kidding.
We haven't read a Carol Danvers.
I know.
Book.
Trying to think of blonde. The only
it's not Gwen Stacy.
No, but you're getting warmer.
Deborah Whitman.
Nope.
Liz Allen?
Liz Allen.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
She'd be a little young for him, wouldn't she?
No. Well,
what did Harriet say about that?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
she was in high school. Yeah, probably. But by this time, you had Foggy's probably mid-30s, and Liz Allen's probably late 20s, give or
okay,
take.
okay. So
Which
yeah,
is
that's
before
fine.
Because
she got married to a Harry, right?
No, this was after Harry's death.
Oh, wow.
Okay, okay.
You have Franklin or Foggy was kind of like a stepdad to little Normie.
Oh, wow. So that's what happened. I was wondering, because it's been a while since I've gone through Reddit. I know Harry died, but I don't remember what happened to
Well,
Liz.
I promise you, no one at Marvel remembers this.
Yeah. Wow.
Dang, yeah, I didn't even know that. That's something.
So what's cool about is Daredevil walks into the room and he says, like, hands feel as big as basketballs, can barely move my arms. So there's no time to relax.
Yeah.
You know, he's just trying to get out there. And all of a sudden he's like, steps echoing down the hallway. Big steps.
Big steps.
And you see the cup of water shaking as he goes.
It's like Jurassic Park. So like this part is really, I could actually see this. Like if Zack Snyder was filming this is like that scene where it's pitch dark and Kingpin comes in with a flashlight and he sees Shades' clothes.
Do you know what's great though? We get to see how freaking thick that door is.
Yeah, that door is huge.
Look at that.
That's like 3 feet thick.
There's no way Daredevil should be opening up. I mean, that's like his arm should have been ripped out of his sockets. But we get to see the first fight between Kingpin and Daredevil.
Yep.
In the Dark Vault. And every blow he goes against the Kingpin, it just bounces off of him.
Yeah, because he's like it's like hitting a wall or it's like hitting muscle.
Because remember, Spider-Man said that his knuckles were bruised.
Yeah, right.
Also, when Kingpin hears him, he just walks up to the door and flings it open. Yeah. After showing 2 pages of what it took for Matt to do it.
What it took for Matt to do it. Yeah, exactly.
So you kind of know right there who's winning the fight.
And like it's the fight starts out and like Daredevil's like throwing some quips, like he's calling himself everyone's
big guy,
favorite man without fear, and you have to swing harder. Like, and Kingpin, I'm surprised they didn't reference Spider-Man. Like I probably would have done something just like corny like that. Be like, oh, you're as insufferable as Spider-Man. But yeah, after a while, he's like he even says that last shot to his side would have crippled a normal man, but he doesn't seem to be dazed. And then like he tries to kick him in the back and he hurts his own legs in the process.
Look at this one punch.
Yeah, one punch right in the face. Like he's got a giant.
Look at his legs. He's dead.
Yeah, that guy is. Out.
Kingpin, I guess, never really obsessed over Spider-Man the way Doc Ock did.
Yeah,
because we read the story the other day.
Yeah.
Every time Doc Ock was the whole time he was fighting Daredevil, he's referencing Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So I even say it when I say it.
But Kingpin, in the same way as did he obsess over Daredevil though?
Oh yeah. Daredevil became
his Achilles heels. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's been going for so long now. He's known and forgotten his identity 3 or 4 times, and at this point, as I said,
Devil's Reign, he finally remembered who he is.
Well, yeah, I said,
right.
I get it, guys. Is going to sound pompous or condescending. I can see why you guys thought that was a really good story, but if you've been reading this stuff as long as I have, you realize how many times you've read it before.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's.
I still like every time I listen. I still love Kingpin versus Daredevil every time they do it, though.
Yeah. Whereas at this point, I would just rather go back and read this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said that's my problem because I said comics move on.
Yeah.
But so that's why I can't get overly excited about anything. The reason why I'm enjoying World's Finest so much is it's not really in continuity, so I can just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, its own little. It's
not.
Pocket.
Yeah. It's also not even a retcon, really. It's just like this happened between these issues that you read.
Yeah.
Right, and you can decide where those issues are.
Yeah. That's why I always praise the new the Peter Davids, the David Michelins, JD DeMatteis, writing, these characters, and it shows how much better they are than the other current writers at both companies.
So before we get too far off track, we're now at the point where it's time to make the exchange.
The deal. They get the
He's
Vanessa.
agreed to give the mobsters the information in return for Vanessa's life. And
Daredevil's waiting.
And he, of course, he has a plan. And
Bullseye.
he tells Lynch to stay in the car.
Yep.
Yep.
and he goes to make the thing, and it doesn't go as planned.
Somebody has a mortar shell.
Explosion. There's a mortar shell. There's an explosion. The building collapses, and obviously the Kingpin survives. Vanessa's nowhere to be found, and as he gets in the car for Lynch to drive him away, you see Lynch grab his head. So obviously we know why, and that sets up the third act. I take it back. Turk and the boys tie Daredevil up. Kingpin said to shoot him, but Turk decides that's not stylish enough. So he just ties him up and dumps him.
Puts him in this thing, the little snare.
But that sets the stage for the third act.
Yep.
That's
funny. It's like the cliffhanger of the old Adam West Batman shows. You got to do a stylish death that still gives him a chance to escape.
I'm a little surprised that Turk had that much imagination.
Right.
What was the issue we were reading? It says I would something, and Kingpin said that's because you are very stupid, Turk.
So the next issue starts off with Daredevil, and this is I love how they do like these openings. So if you look at this, there's a little semi truck.
Oh yeah.
And then shows Daredevil, but look at the pipes, and it shows the names.
The pipes with everything. Yeah, I just love that kind of creative.
And Daredevil's in there. He's pretty much he's waking up. He's like, can't breathe. Where the hell am I?
Right.
I know you say he's like,
I wake up in the strangest
places. I'm like, I want to know more. Where have you been waking up lately?
Yeah. What else is there, Matt? What else is there, Frank?
I want to know how you have the presence of mind to wake up underwater and keep your mouth closed.
Well, that to be 4 minutes. I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah. You know why he's able to do that? Because he's a superhero.
Oh, right.
They're larger than life.
Yeah.
They're not like us.
And I'm glad that he's skinny, because there's no way a fat person could have fit through these pipes.
Well, they even show like this one pipe right before he gets out. This pipe is getting really thin.
Hear that segment of the comic book population that thinks superheroes should have dad bods?
Yeah, your gut would have been in the way climbing to this pipe.
Yeah, right. if Daredevil had a dad bod, he'd be dead.
Yep.
But yeah, he gets out. He's like, and the first thing he says, I can breathe, but what's that smell? I was like, well, you're in a water main.
Who are these people?
You're probably in a sewer.
And they're all money for food. And they're
vagabonds. Like these vagabonds. Yeah, I keep wanting to call them. What are they? The Morlocks. I keep thinking of the Morlocks. Like this is a great way to tie the X-Men.
Did they ever fight the Morlocks like the Sharks and the Jets, West Side Story style, under the sewers? I mean.
But you look at some of the people, their feet to have like lesions on, like leprosy or something else. So it's like
definitely money for food.
And I love the mentality that they're all like zombies, like they all just want money. And so it's like
that's what they want. Yeah. But then from there, so they go back to Josie's bar, and that's the third time back at Josie's bar, and there's Turk. He's at the bar, and he's like, man, nobody's gonna mess with me. They found out that I got, and then he's like, Daredevil just puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, no.
And he goes to the window again.
And then Josie's like, did you have to do that, DD? That's the third time.
No, he didn't go to the window though. He almost did. He caught him this time.
Did. Yeah,
because he didn't want to cause the window.
And this is where Daredevil, like, there is still some lightness to the story, because Daredevil's like, hey, observe this billy club. Good for catching crooks or flagpoles.
And I gotta say, sure, go ahead.
Why didn't he just jump onto the floor and run out the door?
Probably.
I mean, that would be a lot less painful than jumping through a plate glass window, I'm thinking.
The window's closer, maybe?
And that's why Kingpin said, you are a very stupid man, Turk.
Yeah, he's a dummy for sure. But yeah, he gets Turk, of course, spills everything to Daredevil, kind of catches them up on what's happened, and then from there we go to, Wilson Fisk has been slowly taking down. He's been sabotaging the business of his competition.
We'll basically take out, we'll harass their various numbers runners, making it appear each that the other gang is responsible. Basically setting like a large gang war between them, and you see them, and it's just kind of cool. The next thing you see the guys talking, they're like freaking out, like, oh, this is bad for business, and you see Bullseye. You see the fly buzzing around. He's like, nope, kill it.
Well, yeah, they finally they want him to kill Kingpin now, and he says, well, it's going to cost you an extra $5 million.
Yeah,
right.
and then he knock at it.
He knocks out the fly. There's no charge for the fly.
Yeah, but it's just so cool. I mean, love that. Like he's like, beep, fly's gone.
Yep, with a paperclip too. Yeah.
Yes, and a rubber band.
Well, that's crazy too, because didn't he kill that like in the Daredevil in the movie, the Ben Affleck? I think the first person you see him kill is with a paperclip, isn't it? That's
then he used to kill the old lady on the plane with his toothpick. He flicks
yeah.
Yep.
But then it shows Bullseye. He's going around. He's like trying to find out where the Kingpin is. So he's like threatening all these informants with like pool ball sticks and everything. And then we find the Kingpin. He's training again in his underground lair, and so he's like beating up all these guys. And
there he goes. His lieutenant is holding his head again. He's like, oh yeah, sure, right away, boss. No problem.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. He even asks, like, "Are you okay?"
The lights go out.
Yep. Daredevil's like, I happen to the lights.
Then we find out what the Kingpin had up his sleeve, because Daredevil arrives at the police station with what he thinks is the state's evidence. It turns out to be a briefcase full of newspapers.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. What are you blind?
What's the joke, Hornhead?
Right. That was that's again just showing Kingpin. He's really both on a physical level and on a mental level. He's that much of a competent threat.
All right, so we can add some questions here. By Raker says, is Bullseye then Daredevil's Deadshot and Elektra Daredevil's Talia Ghul? In a sense, because she kills, he likes her, but because he kills, they can't.
I would say closer to. Well, I mean, Talia Ghul, her being foreign, but you know what I would say, because like I said, Black Widow is kind of his Catwoman, if you want to make that comparison.
Yeah.
Now, as far as comparing Daredevil to Deadshot, I mean Bullseye to Deadshot, only an accuracy of their weaponry, because Bullseye was a far more important Daredevil villain than Deadshot was a Batman villain.
Right. Yeah. Bullseye and Daredevil, they really have a contentious.
Well, Bullseye is also much more crazier than Deadshot. Deadshot is
absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then Bullseye and Daredevil season 3 in the show, I really liked it. The one thing I didn't care for was that they gave him an alias, a name. And I know in the comics they do that, at least for a long time.
Trying to think, who was the other guy who put the tally marks on his body in Batman?
Victor
Zsasz. I would say he's on the crazy level of Zsasz.
Okay.
Bullseye would be like Zsasz in the crazy level, but he's got the accuracy of Deadshot.
Okay.
So
the next panel we get to, Bullseye has infiltrated the Kingpin's underground base just in time for it to collapse on him.
Yeah, literally, he's like, what the?
He's like, nuts. Yeah, the building collapses, and then we find out Kingpin is like, he shows up at the gangsters' headquarters. And just like, again, he just looks larger than life. He like blocks the doorway.
He locked in. He's like, he's like, clowns, that's what you are. It's like, it's like King, easy balls. They're like, easy, but take it easy. Remember which side you're on. Your bread is buttered on. They're like, the Kingpin played for suckers. He planted the location in his hideout and over on a very talkative hood, And then he rigged the joint that collapsed on the first person, and it was me. And I just got I was just stupid enough to go along with these saps. They're like, dude, hold on, really take it easy. And like, and he's like, It's like, but don't worry, as soon as our colleagues arrive, we will hold an emergency conference and appoint a committee that will. And like, you see, Kingpin walks in the shadow. He's like, they will not arrive. He's like, each of your colleagues has been approached tonight. Some of them now work for me. The rest are dead. And, and like Kingpin here, he's like, your weakness lies in numbers. While you formed committees and drafted resolutions, I was free to act with far greater dispatch. The mobs are dissatisfied with your performance, gentlemen, and they are ready for my return. And like, it's like, they're like, Bullseye, kill him. And he's like, Bullseye's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
These are
Bullseye changes teams pretty quickly.
These are two of the best pages I've ever read in a comic.
Yeah.
Because he goes, when he goes, Bullseye has two choices. He goes, first, he could do that, but I think he's far too practical. A man, he could put a bullet in my brain, or he could realize which one of us can guarantee his future employment.
Yeah.
Right.
And then without even waiting for an answer, he goes, Bullseye, my cigarette.
Yeah.
Gotcha, boss. And it's, it's happy to oblige, boss. And then he just, basically, and then when he goes, it's like something right out of a gangster movie where he goes, written confessions are being prepared, gentlemen. You will sign them.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys like, how did this happen? We had everything.
How'd he do it?
And
the next page. Yeah.
It's time to deal with Lynch.
Oh, man. Yeah. This is just, I could see this play out like a movie too in my head.
Well, this is season 3 with the guy at the car door.
Mm-hmm. That was season 1. Season 1 was when he crushes the guy's head with
Oh, was it season 1? But
it was season 1. Of course, that was like the first real graphic scene of violence.
But you see Lynch grows, he shoots a gun and goes blam blam, and then he's like, and he grabs his hand with a gun and just crushes his hand. And you see him just screams like, ah! He's like, my life was nothing but a lonely struggle for power. Vanessa warned me. Vanessa showed me love, and you took her from me. And one more joy, my brief, insanity. He's like, no, come on, and he just pushes him right through the freaking table.
Yeah, right through the desk, and you can't see it, but that guy's
he just killed him.
In. Yeah, he Lynch is dead.
Yeah,
and actually, I think you probably even see some blood on it. Like it's not red, it's black, but he gets some on his
kind of like he pushes jacket. He's like,
well, he shot him. That's a bullet wound.
Oh, okay.
Lynch shot him.
Yeah, he shot him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he says to Bullseye, "There's some garbage in my office. Clean it up. Then get me a doctor."
And did you catch the subtle irony?
Yeah.
That now he's working for Kingpin. Yes. Who treats him like an errand boy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed well, he's still on the winning team, but you're right. It's the same.
Well, he's on the winning team because he switched. I mean, he could have put a bullet in Kingpin's head, and those guys win.
That's true.
Crushed his hands like a can of Pringles.
He crushed them. Like
now something I noticed too about this last issue is this is where you get like the subtext, the narration type. Because you didn't have that in 170 and 171, but in this issue, it's like you're watching an old black and white film, or almost like even Sin City, where it's like these different thoughts about the city and everything.
Yeah, where he says the
city is like a woman. They tell you, but there are lots of different kinds of women. Take that one over there. Take my mother, please.
He's shaking up the hooker.
Yeah,
and she think after all this. That's enough entertainment for one comic.
You would think.
But no. We still have another battle to go.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's not content to just give you Kingpin.
And he's like, he's like, he wants to talk to you. He's like, no, it's like, you want to know about my boyfriends and nothing will make them, talk about nothing. He's like, well, maybe money. And she's like, and she's like, it's not like you to be alone as ladies. And she's like, don't I know it? I got me lots of boyfriends and they treat me all real well, mostly anyway. But tonight, all of a sudden, they all cancel our dates just like that. And when I asked them why, they just told me to shut up.
You gotta read it. You gotta read it like Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
I got lots of boyfriends. Mr.
He's like, and she basically, as soon as he throws the money, she's like, it's like, well, maybe money, It's like, and she just totally breaks, and she's like, because her boyfriend's canceled on her, so she's not getting paid. She needs money.
Yep. And so she tells him what's going on. Daredevil's like, well, it looks like I'm heading to that tower. And
I love this. This is
yeah.
you see him running along the line here at the end.
Yeah, the tightrope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I mean, that's straight up what you'd see like maybe with Nightwing, you know, or even Batman used to run across some of the cables with that.
Yeah. So yeah, Kingpin, he's like holding this meeting. He's like all of his new recruits, basically the people that he turned over to his side. They're all having a meeting, and then the lights go out. And Daredevil, Kingpin, he already knows. Kingpin and Bullseye already know.
Oh.
And Kingpin's like, the generator's in the basement, Bullseye. That's where you'll
Yeah,
find
yeah. You see this. This is the page before, and you get the second confrontation between Daredevil and Bullseye, and I love this page spread, this fighting. He's like, I can use anything as a weapon, including your billy club. I see why you like it. It's nice. It bounces off of things.
It's like weightless and
This is now Rhaegar, you said you haven't seen season 3 Daredevil. You're gonna see stuff like this.
Yeah.
In that season.
There's the part where where Daredevil said, "I want to fight you, no weapons, just man to man."
Yeah.
Of course, Bullseye immediately cheats, and then Daredevil shoots the weapon. He goes, "I said no weapons."
Yes.
Right.
And we finally get to see those two go at it, just the two of them.
Yeah.
And
slugging it out, using bricks.
But at the end though, it's just that's right. Yes, Bullseye. Of course, he cheats again, but Daredevil proves. Yeah, but then what makes I think this is the absolute. The second to last page is so brilliant, where he basically says, I know what you're thinking, but be practical.
Yep.
Because you've won a great victory. It will take time to rebuild this. For a time, your side will be that much stronger. And he says, take Bullseye. I'll throw him in as a courtesy.
Yep.
Take this win and be content with that. And Daredevil thinks it over, and he realizes that that's the only thing he can do. And he goes, "You win, Kingpin, this time."
Yeah.
Now,
the epilogue, the very last page, it's revealed that Vanessa is alive.
That part I liked, but I didn't like the dialogue at the end because
hungry.
Well, yeah, she. Where would she have learned that phrase?
Right.
Please, food.
I know they
food.
did it for effect. But that was, to me, that's like the one part that's not really, this, I think this is a damn near perfect trilogy of it.
I think there's something in the water.
There might have been, but
that's why she's saying money for food.
That is a tiny gripe.
Yeah.
I said,
it's very, it's a big plot twist, like a reveal, like, if this is a movie, it's that after credit stinger kind of when it's revealed she's alive. But yeah, the whole money for food thing, because she's not even around any of the other vagabonds.
Right.
So you're right. It is a little bit of a gripe, but yeah, just going back to, it's like, yeah, not Lex Luthor, Kingpin, like he can see what Daredevil's thinking. Daredevil knows he's outgunned. He's surrounded, and he's like, I know you're thinking of something crazy, but just consider this. And then, like you said, he's like, take the win, have Bullseye, enjoy the peace for a short time, and we'll just, we'll have another bout when it comes to it. I like that. Yeah.
You mentioned Frank Miller and Dark Knight Returns in year one automatically come up. In my humble opinion, this is his best story to me. I just think this is absolutely perfect because it's in, like I said, Dark Knight Returns is out of continuity. It's set in the future, a possible future. Year one is retconning, adding to a lore that's already happened. This is in the continuity of the moment, and I just think it's brilliant. I just absolutely love these 3 issues.
It's a great. Like I said, I've only read issue 172. I never read 170 and 171 before it. Reading those 2 issues ahead of this really add a lot of context to it. They add a lot of flavor and layer to it. Like the stuff with Bullseye, you get the build up with. Even the gag with Josie's bar. It's so much better when you read like the whole thing versus just the third part. It's just it is a great trilogy, a great 3-part story. I think it's probably is even better than what we did last week with the trial of Hank Pym. And I like that story too, but this is just, it's smaller, I guess. It's more concentrated. You have a smaller group of characters that it's focused on. So maybe that's part of it, but yeah, it's just
there's
great.
This, I mean, I would agree, even though personally 230 is my favorite of the 6 issues, but only because I'm the anti-skip. I'm capes first.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't really a cape story. This is more like noir.
It's a crime noir. Yeah, it definitely it's a crime noir story disguised as a cape story.
As much as I loved Avengers 228 through 230, this is a better overall story. This is
noir. He's like this kind of reminds me of what was it, Spirit, in the sense, going after criminals and stuff.
Spirit was always tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I got tongue in cheek. Well, this had some tongue in cheek moments too with Turk.
But no, I mean, it's. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I can't.
It's a nowhere. It's a nowhere, and it does feel very nowhere. Like I said, you got a guy. He's a lawyer. Like during the day, he's undercover. He goes and he's battling against these crooks and all, and he comes across this one, the Kingpin, the big bad guy, and I love how he underestimates them, and it's like basically if you had a private detective going against, trying to take down the corporate mob, and then you also got this series, you had cops that were dirty too.
Well, you also have the assassin whose life he just saved, and now
to me it's kind of like
how
Gotham City is, in a sense. You get the Batman kind of vibe as far as going against organized mobs, dealing with the police.
Well, Frank Miller, he does one of these little narration things in here where he's like, he's talking about the tower, and he's like, where is it here? You see that building over there? Pretty and proud as Mount Olympus, but there ain't gods living in there. They ain't even men.
Well, that's why Frank Miller went on the Right Sin City later after this. I thought, that's why you see a lot of that narration like that.
What I've never been able to figure out is why this story doesn't get brought up on anybody's best lists.
It's a good one.
Who are you talking to as far as best?
Well, no, I mean, if you see, like, who was it that, when you see like top 50 comics or top 50 stories,
this
probably doesn't make it because everybody just kind of lumps the whole Frank Miller run together.
It's one giant story,
and which it was, but to me, this was. I think this was better than 181 because by that time, when they brought in Stick and the Hand and the mysticism and
this was better because this was
everything that happened in this issue, with the exception of maybe Bullseye's skills and Matt putting a pen in a gun barrel, could happen. So I mean, it is a.
It's got a lot more realism to
it. And
it felt like you're reading a 1920 or 1940s gangster novel.
It's not. I mean, not to take anything away from the other elements he introduced, because it added to the mythos. But this was, to me, just I said, just gritty street. Just everything you want. In a story. And like I said, it's personally my high water mark for his run. I realized it was very early in it, and
I would agree. These 3 issues alone, I said him going against Kingpin for the first time. I said his determination, going against how Bullseye basically, like you said, he's. It's funny how he just switched sides, but then he still gets he complained about being a stooge, but he's still a stooge, right? Kingpin, but he realized he's still gonna get paid though because he's not going anywhere.
And he doesn't defeat Kingpin, not even close. I mean, they fought physically.
No.
He got his ass handed to him.
Right.
And even though he does round up a lot of the small fish and Bullseye, the big fish swims away at the end of the story.
I love it. He says like the ultimatum. He's like, you can. I give you all these papers. You got all these people, and consolation. It's gonna take me for a while to build my organization up. So,
or you can stay here, fight me, and die.
Yeah,
because I mean, you're not winning. I mean, because all of his men are there with guns, and they,
the guy shot him twice with a gun, and he still survived.
Well, I mean, one word from Kingpin, and
yeah,
Daredevil's shot full of holes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those where it's peace through intimidation.
Yeah, he's the ultimate bag. He knows he's got you, and there's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. So you take what you can. But Daredevil is like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep. I'm going to go. I'll leave now.
He knows that too, because like I said, there's, for some people, it's not enough just to have power.
Yep.
Everybody needs, Sherlock Holmes needed Moriarty.
Yep.
So that's, and that their battles, at least until they started getting done the same way over and over again. For the next 6 to 10 years, there were a lot of decent, really good.
Marani is right. He wrote this kind of like you'd be watching a movie. It's cinematic, pacing with his art and everything on here. They draw it.
The difference being, it felt like it, but that isn't.
No, it wasn't.
Nowadays, if a writer does that, they're doing it deliberately.
Yeah.
And, but most people don't have Frank Miller's talent, so that's
become not the Blob. Funny. Yeah, we saw how that all worked out with Wolverine.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the stories with Elektra. I love later issues. He hires Elektra to go after Daredevil. Mm-hmm. When he comes across the Hand for the first time, he's like, he fought them. He's like, there's four people in here that can't hear the heartbeat, so it's very faintly, but he survives the attack, and they're like, who is this Matt Murdock guy? How did he survive this assault? The hand is always talked about. Hand's always the big thing when it comes to Daredevil.
Yeah, right.
But the Kingpin and just these little stories right here, is what made when they adapted it into the Netflix show. That's what made it great, because they actually understood this is what Daredevil is. It's the Kingpin versus him.
Kingpin was definitely the strong point as a bad guy versus the Hand.
Yeah,
the way
even though they brought the Hand in the second season, but the very first season was all about Kingpin.
It was way better storytelling when Kingpin was involved.
And they brought the Kingpin back in season 3, and they introduced Bullseye.
Yeah,
Lester. It wasn't Bullseye yet, but at the end, they're like, we would have season 4. It would have actually been Bullseye after he had the surgery and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We would have had the costume and everything.
Yeah, right.
But they decided they didn't want to have the show on Netflix. They wanted to, so they're going to cancel them, and they want to bring all their shows under Disney Plus. And now you said there's a rumor there's going to be a Daredevil show in the works with the.
Well, it's not a rumor. They reported it through Variety just today. That
with the writers of
the writers, the guys, they did several shows, but the big one that stood out to me was Covert Affairs, was the FBI or a CIA show they used to do for USA back in the day. And they're in charge. They're writing and producing this new Daredevil show. So fingers crossed. I hope that it has the same feel to it as the. I would think if you're looking at it from a business angle, I would think they would know that, hey, Daredevil for Netflix was consistently good even with season 2. There were some faults with season 2, but
I also love
was the best one. I would think they wouldn't change the feel.
Any of the same cast, or are they starting over?
Charlie Cox for sure, I would imagine. I don't think they confirmed it, but he just showed up and he was just in Spider-Man.
I don't know if they'll bring back Foggy, or Karen. Foggy might be in an episode or two, but not every episode.
I would think that they would bring back like Foggy, Karen. I would think. They haven't confirmed.
I know.
I would
it's like Bosch Legacy, where
I would think that they would bring back at least Matt, Karen, Foggy, and Fisk. I would think those 4 actors. I think that they would get them to come back. Bullseye, maybe.
I agree, Marania. Kingpin is much of a villain than the first, and then Spider-Man villain. If Spider-Man's gone against him like twice, he said each time he's like, he still calls him Tubby.
He went against him more than twice, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, the first 2 times though, I'm saying, I remember those always stick in my head.
Yeah.
Then I remember Kingpin realizing it's a pointless feud, whatever. So he just went through a side panel and jettisons him out, so he escape. But yeah, I as much as I like hearing Peter Parker quick, oh my hands, I hit a brick. Because he wasn't expecting it. His hands are just like, oh, they're pounding. I was like, I can't move my hand. It's like my hand is like numb. I prefer Daredevil because Daredevil doesn't have any he doesn't have super strength. He does have
he's a
heightened
boxer.
senses. Yeah,
and
he's a
got
boxer.
heightened
Yeah,
senses, yeah, but
he's physical peak like Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, Captain America. He's in that ballpark. Yeah.
Now, if the collapsing building supposedly killing a Fisk, before you give Frank credit for that, that was not his idea. In Spider-Man 164, Kingpin kidnaps Spider-Man to steal his life essence to revitalize his son, and Vanessa turns on him and basically saves Spider-Man because she doesn't feel that's fair. They fight. They're like on top of a roller coaster, and the roller coaster collapses, seemingly killing the Kingpin. So that might be where Frank got the idea to have the shell of the skyscraper collapse on Vanessa.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Interesting. Which issue is that? Oh, is that the one that where
I think
he
that's
almost
right.
dies?
Yeah.
168 or 169?
With Black Widow? Or is that a different one? It's the wrong one.
No, the one where Bullseye kidnaps Black Widow is 160. And 161, Matt saves her.
Okay, so then where am I at here?
Because the one we just read 165, didn't we?
163 is with the Hulk.
Yeah, and then 165 is Doc Ock, right? We just did that one, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
because
Doc Ock,
that's when
here's 164.
That's when Black Widow realizes that Matt really is in love with.
This is 164.
Oh, with his father.
Yeah, and then Daredevil. And try to find that what you're talking about. Yeah. Just trying to find a. You said it was 164 where the thing collapsed?
No, Spider-Man 164 that was published.
Oh, okay, Spider-Man 164.
Late 1976.
Oh, okay. I thought you were thinking this one.
Yeah,
no, we just read this one on the channel.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
I love that cover too.
Yeah. Like I said, the after image, I love it.
Yeah, now what I'm thinking is about a year ago, the other comic book shop bought a bunch of books and they didn't feel like messing with them, so they put almost all of them out for $1, and there were 5 Miller Daredevils in there, and my dumbass didn't buy them.
Ooh.
Because I had them already in trade. It was before I was. It was when I was trying to still convince myself I wasn't going to collect again.
I love that.
I do that a lot now. It's like I second guess because like, well, I have these books in trade. Do I really need the floppies? And
Hulk 449. Do you know what that is?
449.
Yeah.
No, not off the top of my head.
First Thunderbolts.
Oh,
I turned that down for $1. That's 150 now, and this is all within the last 2 years.
Oh my goodness!
So I said, now that I absolutely would not do that, because comic prices. It's probably closer to 3 years because it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
okay.
But prices have just exploded so much in that time.
Yeah, this was on the great issue.
Why is the Thunderbolts issue shot up so high? Is it speculation or
no? It's just the characters are popular. So first appearance, sometimes we get so used to speculators driving the bus. Now there might have been talk of a Thunderbolts movie or something, and that might have helped accelerate it. But I think it's just those characters, or that title for a while was very good. In like the late 90s, it was as good as anything Marvel was doing, and Marvel was doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Not in mid 90s, not so much. Late 90s, Iron Man, Cap, Thor, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Thunderbolts. They were all. I think the X books were at a low point in those years, but But that's just me.
I still love every time I see the Hulk in these books. He's like, in this one, 160. I think it's 163.
Yeah.
He's like, quit shoving, and he gets his head gets smacked against the thing subway car.
He looks like he gets turned into a Eclipso right there.
I know. It's funny how he just turns and it's like, it's just he jumps right through the ground, the road and everything. And Daredevil's always like in his car. He's like, holy crap! Let's go. That's a funny issue. I mean, we need to read this on the channel. That's great.
Nice.
Anytime I see Hulk versus Daredevil or Hulk versus Spider-Man, you're like, it's going to be a wild issue.
Yeah, but that's it's not. It wouldn't be as much fun to read out loud as it would be to read.
Are you kidding me? I'll let you be the Hulk, man.
No, that's not a good Hulk. I mean, it's for our purposes.
So you'd rather have 449?
No. I'd rather have, if we were ever going to read a Hulk Smash issue, I'd want it to be the Hulk, an issue of the Hulk, so we get more. I mean, this is truly this is like the tragic figure Hulk with a little bit.
If we do a Hulk book, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have Jameson as Thunderbolt Ross.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Speaking of things we need to read, Amazing Spider-Man 139 and 140. It's the oh god, what the kangaroo? It was the kangaroo or
I think we read the kangaroo story.
No, the grizzly.
The grizzly, okay.
Yeah, it's just got a couple of all-time great J. Jonah Jameson moments.
139 and 140.
Yeah. Spider-Man, he goes into Jameson's office. He's taking a nap on the couch. Spider-Man wakes him up by lighting his foot on fire.
That's awesome.
So Mariah is saying the one book that must be bought in original floppy form, not reprint or trade, is Iron Man 127. The original has a real resignation letter. All related reprints have either edited words or squiggles. I wonder why they censored it.
I have no idea.
That's weird.
That is interesting.
By the way, which one of you guys ended up getting 128?
That's the Tony Stark, the Demon in the Bottle one, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
You want it?
I want it. Yep. That's
for like
actually
almost $80.
I wrote it down too. Yeah, I think it was about 80, 85. But that's actually going to be a birthday.
It's like $150 book.
I know. Well, it's going to be a birthday present for my wife. She loves Iron Man, so we'll frame it and put it over her little Iron Man shrine. So,
your wife's in the comics?
She's in the Iron Man, not in the comics, but she loves Iron Man. So
she loves Iron Man. She puts up with the rest of it.
Yeah, she puts. Yeah, exactly, pretty much.
Don't get her Cantwell.
No, God, no. Well, I would do it just for the covers. I'd probably staple the book shut so you never have to read inside.
Why would I staple the books? Just rip the cover off.
Oh yeah, I guess you could do that too.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a Bendis book, you don't want to have the rest of things in there. You just want the cover.
Well, I'd rather read Bendis than Cantwell.
I don't know. Sometimes
I don't know. It takes a lot longer to read Bendis than the both.
Bendis, I would take Bendis if I knew I was going to be in a waiting room at the hospital for a while.
And Brian Michael Bendis books is like reading like a treasure edition and like all those words, but under 32 pages.
Well, the thing is, I read a lot of comic books that make Bendis look like he is very frugal with his wordsmithing.
Frugal?
Yes. I mean, so you can imagine how much writing are on these pages.
Yeah, right.
The difference is these books say something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bendis just drones on, and none of it never goes anywhere.
And he has all of his characters, no matter how adult they're supposed to be, he makes them all sound like high schoolers or college.
Well, they all sound like texting teenagers.
Yeah, he made like in Justice League. That was the big thing. He would make characters like Aquaman or Hippolyta or Black Adam. He'd make them all sound like they were all high schoolers. Like,
and
he doesn't talk like that.
So Ray Garcia is bringing up the MCU, talking about the Thunderbolts are going to have that because. Dry Fist lady, what her name is. People played Elaine on
Julia Louise
Dreyfus.
Elaine Bennis.
I know Elaine. It's like I can remember that, but I can't remember what her real name is. Yep. But apparently she's recruiting that's why she's in there. She's got so that becomes something cool to see. But
Yeah, it
I don't
could
know.
be if it was done right.
I'm just really leery because I hope because there is hope for this show, for the Daredevil show, to be like the Netflix show, because they separated the Netflix shows from the normal shows by having a mature rating. So I'm hoping they keep the mature rating and keep the same kind of tone style, but unless they get the writers that were from that show to come back and write this, I don't think it's gonna be, you're not gonna get the same vibe. Maybe it'll be better. I just don't want it to be like we're gonna make it more for kids, camp it up, like they do with the MC movies.
Yeah,
I wanted to say the same like vibe we got from Frank Miller's run, because that's what it had.
I think we're talking about Thunderbolts thing. I think if we if that does come to pass,
I was talking about Daredevil, but
no, I know, but I was just
Yeah.
Getting back to what Zach said real quick.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more like the Warren Ellis Thunderbolts than the original concept, because I don't think anybody remembers the original concept, which was villains pretending to be heroes, and then some of them deciding they actually wanted to be heroes,
right?
Which set up a conflict within the ranks of the team. Warren Ellis's Thunderbolts, basically everybody was a piece of shit except for Songbird.
Reminds me of the new movie that came out.
Didn't it like later iterations? Wasn't it also kind of like almost like a rehabilitation, like a Suicide Squad type program?
Yeah.
Like you do hero work, you get time off your sentence or something like that. Yeah. Suicide Squad without the threat of death.
and Luke Cage was the leader, and
yeah,
I'd noped out by then.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know, Rhaegar. That drives me crazy too. Every time Wonder Woman's mom comes up, people call her Hippolyta. It's like it's Hippolyta.
Okay, so Marania said that the real reason the resignation letter with minor edits in the original because Dave Cockrum resigned from Marvel and they used the letter in the book.
Oh, okay.
So that could be I guess so. They don't have
Okay.
So that book got more valuable.
Interesting.
So I don't know what else to say about me. I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. Great 3 issues. If you haven't read, they're actually free. If I've got an Amazon account, and I think if you have an Amazon account, these issues are free to read on Comixology. So you don't even have to go out. If you want to collect the books, obviously.
You mean Amazon Kindle, right?
Comixology, Amazon Kindle, whatever. It's all the same thing.
I've heard it both ways.
But yeah,
I've read it both ways.
You can. They're free to read. You don't have to pay for them or anything like that. So if you
what if
want
it
to
was
read
the
the
books
story,
on tape?
Books on tape.
Then you've heard it both ways.
Where's the cassette tape so I can read it? I can listen.
The 8-track. The
8-track
audio book.
Back when they used to get those books with Clifford, you can have the audio tape. You can follow along.
Yep.
You hear the beep, turn the page.
Cool.
But yeah, definitely worth taking a look at. Whether you're a long time or you're a newcomer to Daredevil, definitely worth looking at.
Like I said, you can for $30, you can get this. This is volume 1. Volume 2 is also $30 as well. And then volume 3 is also $30. These are available on Marvel.com. They're also, you can just find them anywhere, really. I mean, they're
Miller's Daredevil's been reprinted a number of times.
Yeah, I'm just.
I like the version you have.
Yeah,
it's the soft cover. I'm trying to figure out when it was printed. 2018.
Okay.
They put these out. Now, I lucked out. They actually had all 3. I didn't have to go looking for them because I was buying them one at a time. I came back to this shop. I was like, oh, nobody's touching these. So I was like, oh, thank you. Because I hate having to look online and shop. But In Stock Trades is another one you can go to. I'm probably going to be ordering my Deadly Class books for there, the big ones. And they got the exclusive ones from a different one. Discount Trades was another one to cite. Variant covers.
Think about that.
Yep.
Stories from the early 80s still going to press in 2018.
Yep.
And 30 years from now, if print still exists, they'll be they'll still be available.
They'll still be, because they'll still be good, timeless stories. Meanwhile, stuff
lot of
like
reading.
Hellfire Gala will hopefully will be nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I said the comics from the big two aren't meant to be anything more than cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, each cover has tells you what's in the book. Volume 1 is that. Volume 2 is versus Elektra.
And again, we talked about this. I think it has more to do with, in these days, comics were just there. You wanted to create a great comic.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to get the issue out. If you're doing an indie book, you want to get noticed by Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just there's really at the big two. It's all about creating the next buzz-worthy event, because no one's going to create any new characters because they're going to save that for their indie books.
And this one's all about the hand with you have Black Widow, the Death of Elektra, all that stuff. It also collects 185 through 181 and 219, Daredevil, Love and War, and What If number 28. So you're getting written, which is What If was written by Frank Miller and Mike W. Barr, illustrated by Miller, Claus Jansen, John Buscema, and Bill Sienkiewicz. Or Sienkiewicz, whatever you want to call it. Or
you've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
I've said it both ways. And heard it both ways. I've read it both ways. So yeah, I mean, this $90, you get the whole thing, and I'm sure you could probably find it in stock trades. Maybe they have these there too.
Right on.
We've gone on for an hour and a half, a little longer than we normally do. Probably the same. I don't know.
Probably the same. I mean, it's worth it too to cover this.
And
story.
Like I said, this is if you love Elektra character, you love the Hand, you love Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox, and like I said, all these people in here. The show, these are the books it came from. These are ones you want to read. I still recommend you do check out the Stan Lee stuff from the early days. They're good in their own for their own unique way. But the Frank Miller, like as everybody said, is always what is the best run. It's if you're a fan of Engelty Vanilla Comics, that's his run. Ash on Comics, the 321 kid. This is his definitive run.
Is that what we're calling him now? The 321 kid.
The 123 kid.
If you get a room full of lifers together and ask for the greatest run in comics history, this is going to get as many votes as anything, if not more than anything.
Yeah. I'd say I love this as much as I love the post-crisis Superman.
Oh, wow.
Two different animals, and Superman sustained it for a heck of a lot longer. But,
like I said, I enjoy reading it. It's like drinking Mountain Dew, man. I want another can right away.
Daredevil in these days, it was, imagine what it was like having to wait a month before the next one.
Yeah, it would kill me because
the first 2 years, 2 months.
And then
now we just have it at our fingertips.
Now imagine if this was written by Greg Rucka with the same quality, but you had to wait 2 years between each issue, like he does with Lazarus.
Well,
as fast as it takes me to read it, as I said, these books I'm thankful to be born in the late '80s, because now when I grew up, I can just start reading through these and I can just binge read them because you guys. I didn't start reading until 2003, and Zach right around there too. I can't imagine being your age, Breen, and carrying couches upstairs and then still be able to talk about something you love.
Well, when I was a boy, we didn't have these paperback things. You
guys had stone tablets. You had stone tablets, the hard copies.
We wish we had stone tablets. No, we had we had Origin of Marvel Comics and Son of Origin.
Yep.
And it was like 10 stories in each. But yeah, like I said, it's Yeah, I said, yeah, but obviously we didn't know there was ever going to be another way to consume this. So
No, of course there was no
I mean,
trade.
it's just
You had
it's kind of like in the same vein of when I was a boy. If you wanted to watch something on television, if it was your favorite show,
there was no VCR.
Well, you had to make sure you'd already gone to the little boy's room, and you wouldn't get any phone calls because, and God help you if there was a show you liked on one of the other two channels.
Oh yeah, at the same time,
it was pick one because you ain't getting both.
Yeah,
same time, yeah.
It's just like I said, it was just it truly was a completely different world in those days.
So I just saw this article.
When Marania was a girl, they only did trade books for the truly momentous events. There were no collections like they have today.
Oh yeah, and that's true. In the early days, something had to be really important.
Well,
to warrant it instead of that was before the writing for the trades.
Yeah. You had the super actions, the triple actions.
No. We're talking about the early trade paperbacks. Yeah, because I've got some X-Men ones that were published in the late '80s, and they didn't put the covers anywhere on there. You had to guess, where one issue ended. Sometimes.
Oh no, that's horrible.
They've definitely refined the process. But yeah, I said, but Marania's right. It only the really important stories got collected, and like now, hell,
you also had you could go back and read the Spider-Mans for you can pay them like $2 if you found a back issue. You could still get them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But now it's like
$2 again.
Yeah.
I had one of my favorite kick myself for doing this stories is when I had a choice between two copies of Amazing Spider-Man 129, one in mint for $5, or one in really good shape for $2, not $100, not $1,000, $2. My cheap ass spent the other $3 on more back issues, or I could have a mint copy of that. So yeah, they were available, but still. But
nobody thought they're going to take off to be that popular.
And at that time, $5, was
still a lot of money.
Yeah, it kind of was. So
people were paying.
I wanted more books for my bucks.
In the 80s, my dad was, 70s, he was making $4 an hour, and then when he finally got the $16, he's like, "Holy crap, we're in the big bucks now." It's when he got a factory job, it's $4 an hour was like, wow, that the gas station, you're making money, But now it's like, it's like minimum wage is like what, $9.45 or was it's up to, but they jacked up to 15, which causes everything else to go up in price. That's what people don't forget.
Why are all these people wearing masks?
And I don't know how. Yeah, Raker says, how do you guys live with commercials? I mean, that was your bathroom break.
Yeah, pretty much. Bathroom break, snack run.
Well, again, Rhaegar, if you don't know there's another way, I mean, that's what you went to the movies. If you didn't want commercials, you went to the movies.
Marani says, I recall the original price of Origins, Son of Origins, was like $6, $7, which was outrageous back then when it was first published. Now we're complaining about $7 books.
That's true.
I said, if you've never seen these, what we're talking about, Google them. And when I was a kid, my bad, when I was a boy, these were just an absolute treasure trove because I think I saw Origins of Marvel Comics had Hulk 1, Fantastic Four 1, Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yep.
I think Journey 83. It might have had Daredevil 1 and Tales 39 and X-Men 1, I think. Son of Origins had Tales 39. Hell, I lose track of it. But it also had the first Nick Fury agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I thought was just such a cool story. And that's another great run. Like I said, if you're into James Bond, like early James Bond movies, the Nick Fury series for the ran from
for spies and stuff. And all.
Yeah, Strange Tales 135 through the end of that series, and then he got his own book for 18 months, for 18 issues. Yeah, that's some really fun stuff to read.
And before that, he was in Sergeant Fury and his Hauling Commandos.
Actually, concurrently.
At the same time.
Oh.
That too.
Wow. Crazy. That is outrage.
I would say more outrageous.
And what the fact that you had a choice between the Shield Fury, like imagine the comic book store. Yeah, I like the Shields better than the Hauling Commandos better. It's like one guy's like, I buy both. What? Can't do that. So then they finally supposed to cancel Hauling Commandos and this went full Shield, right? After
the Sergeant Fury was set in World War II. Well, 99% of it was, and it ran at the same time as the Nick Fury Agent of Shield. So you got two versions of Nick Fury every month.
Oh, we had that 10 years ago.
Not quite the same, but I get what you're saying.
we had the 1610 and the 1616. Are you okay there, Zach? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I blanked out. I was reading an email. I'm sorry. I saw something.
He's not even paying attention.
Just there. No, just now. I just got a notification. I just went to. No, you said something about 16.
I said we had two. I said 10 years ago we had two different Nick Furies.
Did we? 2 years? Oh, you're talking about the new one they got from the movies?
Zach only acknowledges one.
I'm sorry. Most people at that time only acknowledge. Well, no, I take that back.
Zach, but I have to say,
the normies acknowledged the movie one.
The fact that you weren't even paying attention.
I'm sorry. I thought it was important.
You only acknowledge one Nick Fury.
I mean, one's name is Nick Fury. The other one just kind of took the name Nick Fury, even though his name is Marcus.
We ask if you like. We ask if you like us making fun of Zach. Like and subscribe, and also if you want to donate $1, it helps us get better insults.
That's true. $1 in the Ko-Fi bucket is another insult lobbed my way.
It also helps us, improve the channel a little bit. Maybe we'll have less Zach. Pay us, and we'll have less Zach.
No,
y'all already have
me. We need more. We need our Zach.
1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all have me almost twice as much. Y'all have me almost the same amount of time as you don't have me. I think I'm on here like 5 times a week, and then you have 5 other streams without me.
For $20, we'll replace Zach with Skip.
Look, Zach's wife called and said, "Can you get him on a few more times?"
Probably.
We noticed we haven't had your dog on the time loop at all this time.
No, he's sleeping on the couch.
He's
worn out. We went out walking today in the hot sun. He's pooped. He's a pooped pupper.
As long as he doesn't do it on the couch, you're good.
Yeah.
But I can't think of anything else to talk about. I mean, we're kind of rambling. We're going for the 40-minute goodbye. But unless Eric, if you have any final thoughts on these books, any final thoughts we should know before we go?
I said it's as good as it gets, and for anybody that might happen to come across this later, we did do a retrospective on these 3 issues on Thinking Critical. The ones I do with Wes and Joe Corallo. And anybody that's serious about comics needs to read the Miller run. They have to at least be able to say they've read it, because without, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't.
Absolutely.
And if you tell me that Bendis Daredevil is better than Frank Miller, you are not a comic book fan.
Although Bendis's Daredevil was good, and so was Brubaker's. It was very
urban. I'm not saying they were bad. I'm just saying
I know Brubaker wrote them. I'm kind of curious now because I've never read Brubaker's run. I'm curious to how it holds up compared to Miller's. So I'll have to check that out.
Again, they're very good, and Bendis. I think to me that was among Bendis's best work, and I actually liked him in the first decade of the 2000s, but. Street level individual characters, I think Bendis is much better suited for that than team books, because Bendis has good ideas, but again, if you have him dialoguing a bunch of people, Fortunately, when he wrote Daredevil, he didn't make Daredevil sound like a teenage girl.
That'd
Like
be
he,
really,
like he,
really
like
weird.
he did almost all the Avengers.
Right.
So that's.
Thanks, Bendis.
Right.
Probably also came from him writing Ultimate Spider-Man all the time too, because he had, you have to write teenagers with that one.
The other arc I can think of for Daredevil you'd probably want to read is the Shadowland. I think it was.
Yeah, that's the one where he gets the black suit.
Yeah, where he becomes the dark, the possessed, and Elektra has to save him.
Yeah. That one wasn't bad. I remember when that was an event. I actually got I got a short box that was. Like
I'm not sure if that was Brubaker though. I think it was after Brubaker. That might have been.
Find out.
It might have been Bendis actually. If I think about it, because he went and he got the black suit, and he was leading the hand.
That was written by Andy Diggle.
Oh, actually. Mr. Diggle. All right, cool.
Diggle. He wrote who wrote Green Arrow is the only other thing I can think of that he
wrote.
Right.
So I'll have to check that out because I think that was like 2012.
With Shadowland?
Yeah.
2010.
2010. And that was pretty good. Daredevil was a straight up villain in this story.
Yeah. Yeah, he had took over the hand, and I believe they set up headquarters in Hell's Kitchen.
And they were pretty good about the characters that were used in this.
Yep.
Weren't being used in everything else Marvel was doing. I mean, it's like it takes place right around the time of Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more of like the street level characters, and I said Marvel was very good with their events in those days. Unfortunately, that's far from being the case now.
Zach, do you have any final thoughts at all?
I want to read more Frank Miller Daredevil, and I never thought I would say that. I'm not typically a huge Frank Miller fan.
I would
at least as an artist.
Well,
most of the time his art.
We haven't covered on this channel, but we did on a friend of ours a couple years back, and we went over Born Again. Check out that.
That's one of the big Daredevil stories. I know that.
Yeah, that's another good one. But it said Frank Miller. As soon as I started reading these, I read the first issue, and I was like, everybody else told me Frank Miller, great, and I was like, all right, and I finally sat down. I was like, wow, these are as good as just reading Walking Dead or reading Deadly Class or some of these other current books coming out right now. I just wanted to read the next one.
Yeah,
and it showed you the writing. It's like how they use the cast, the supporting cast. They did with Spider-Man. The supporting cast mattered. They weren't just background characters. They actually had their own little subplots going. Yeah, and they actually, like I said, they were interesting. That's why that's what drew me to Walking Dead with Kirkman. The way he had his characters. Every little character had their own reason why they're there, and it was interconnected with something else. So, definitely check out that. And who knows? Maybe we'll do a future retrospective on Born Again, or maybe we'll talk about Invincible Iron Man.
Next week, are we doing Amazing Spider-Man next week?
Nope. Next week is the Hulk.
Oh, the Hulk. That's right.
Yes.
417, 420.
I believe so. I think it's
417 and 418. I think the bachelor party and the wedding.
Yeah, the bachelor
party.
This is going to be more just for fun.
Fun, yes.
Yeah.
That'll be our next
little bit of fun.
deep dive.
After a gritty noir story, we could use a little levity.
So
Right on.
Hopefully everybody will continue to watch this review, and then for those of you who are committed this whole entire time, I mean, I'm not like insane, but
real quick though, for those of you that have to have your seriousness in your comics, there is a cameo at the wedding for the reception from Neil Gaiman's death.
Oh.
She sneaks into the reception.
Cool.
And it's definitely her. I mean, there's no getting around that. It's like Clark Kent has been snuck into several Marvel comics over the years. And it's pretty much like the same thing.
Yeah. Marania's saying Iron Man knows to suggest Obadiah Stane run with Denny O'Neil.
Rhaegar
That's gonna
says
be up there.
Secret Wars. I've never read Secret Wars 2. I only read the first one.
Secret Wars 2 doesn't. It's really. It's. I mean, it's been a while since I read it, but I think that was just more individual stories that just kind of were published together. Because the first Secret Wars was a battle planet, and there was a plot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember if there even was that in Secret Wars 2.
I've seen, because I know I've seen with Secret Wars 2, it wasn't Secret Wars 2. It was Cloak and Dagger or Spider-Man or whatever. And in the corner, it would say a Secret Wars 2 tie-in.
Right, because the first one didn't. The characters came back the next month in their own titles.
Mm-hmm.
And they would drop hints as to what had happened. But for the next year, Secret Wars was being published.
Like I said, I don't mind doing a retrospective on Secret Wars, but I also don't want to Breen to read 12 issues, for a retrospective. The whole point is us be able to just do one or two, so that way he has other things he's not tied up.
I just read the original. I just finished it last week. The 12 issues.
Nice.
Okay.
Very cool.
All right, next week, Secret Wars.
Dude, I don't even need a week. I'll read through that. Like, I love Secret Wars. That whole story.
No, it'll be a first read for me because I never read that.
Never read Secret Wars?
I've never read Secret Wars or Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay, I know we want to do the Hulk Bachelor. I still want to do the Hulk Bachelor Party, but I think we need to do a retrospect where Binkman's the one coming into a book fresh.
All right, so Secret Wars next week then.
Let's do Secret Wars next week.
Okay.
All right.
Secret Wars. I'm not going to read it again, and I'm old and forgetful, but I'll try to keep up.
All right. All right. So Secret Wars, not 2, the first one.
The first one, the best one. I think that
the best
from what I've heard.
They're depending on who you ask. I personally believe it was a very good story, much better than it had a right to be, considering it was done to sell toys.
And who knows? Who maybe we'll see a Secret Wars reading on the channel.
Ooh, that's a lot of reading. That's a large cast, my friend. No, I'm excited now. That's awesome. I
don't mind reading 4 parts. That's clear.
Oh, it's more than 4. You're talking Spider-Man, 3 of the Fantastic Four. You've got like 5 or 6 Avengers, 5 or 6 X-Men, and that's just the heroes.
I know this is. If you real quick plug before we leave, because it's becoming a really long goodbye. I'm just going to say real quick. My final thoughts is that if you check out, if you're those who are still here with us, check out the reading we did of the annual number, I believe number 3 of the Fantastic Four, the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, and check out every single character that's in there. And we took turns reading different parts, all little parts, and that book is doing well on the reviews right now. It's doing really good. It's getting at least 40 people have read it. We're thankful for everybody who tunes in and actually stays and watches the whole entire thing. Check that out. It's a fun story. Every little part in there is great. Dr. Doom, everything. This Palpatine was back, this week, so he joined us.
Or, as Zach will attest, if we're to get in the spirit of next week, that would be Dr. Doom. Remember Claw when he started putting the way he was talking at the end?
Claw was the one I have to admit, the first time I read Secret Wars, I got really tired of Claw. I was like, dude, I know your gimmick, but stop, just be quiet.
My other friend that will never come on one of these, that is a comic book collector his whole life, like I was. For years, whenever he would say Doom, he would add boom.
Every time I think of Dr. Doom, I automatically go to that comic where he has like the conch shell. He's like, fool, Doom toots as he pleases. So now I'm thinking Doom, toots.
All right. On that note, Doom toots as he pleases, and I'm ending this stream.
Eam.
Good night, folks.